Okay, hello everybody, and welcome you to Coffee with Dr. Kaya, Perfect Entrepreneur. And today I'm so excited about my guest, who is also a 2 Club winner. His name is Chris McManamy. Yes. And Chris is phenomenal. I mean, I didn't know him much, but I just requested if you can be my guest because, they are 2 Club winners. Sometimes they have lots of ego sometimes, but he never said anything like that. He said, of course, yes, tell me when. And that really touched my heart. So then I came to know that he's a dad, and I came to know his story also, that how he was burned out IT professionals, and we will learn more, and how he started his journey around 2020, 2021. But he will tell us more, and from there how he built his agency right now, and started his entrepreneurship. And he also told me that, as you guys know, that I help introverted entrepreneur. So he also told me that he is also an introverted entrepreneur. So we will learn about that story, and also how you felt burned out with your IT professions, and how you decided to do something, something for your own. And it is really will be inspirational for us, because in today's world, only job will not help us, right? Economy, we can't blame anybody. We can't blame government. We can't blame these, dad, mother, father, parents, nothing. We have to do something. If we don't like our job, our career, or if you can't rely on them, we have to start something on our own. So that is my mantra. That's how I started. So today I will ask Chris, tell me about, introduce yourself and tell us that story. Maybe you can inspire many dad like you. So let's start.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I was glad to jump all over this opportunity because a lot of these do come far and few between. But the fact that you reached out to me, and I was like absolutely happy to do it. He's always willing to chat with people, share my story, connect with other people that I don't normally connect with. Because again, we operate in this bubble. It's like there's networks and communities, but it's still very isolating. It is. It's very right.
Exactly.
It could be very because like sometimes I'll sit here at my desk because I got my desk here, and sometimes it's just me and the computer. That's it, and my thoughts, which it can be a good thing, and that also can be it's a blessing and a curse. But anyway, I'm excited to be here, excited to share my story, and knowing that you do work with introverted entrepreneurs, I think we can all understand that. Even where I am, I understand that because I too am somewhat introverted because I was always like years and years and years ago. Like I'm going back like 10, 15 years ago. I would never have done this. I was like mortified. Well, back then it was like audio podcasting was the thing, right? There was a big boom in the mid 2010s where it was like audio podcasting was like
And
really
blog.
get the blogs, right? Blogs and
Yeah.
audio podcasting because video wasn't then where it is now. Now it's just light years ahead. And at the time, I was like definitely afraid of public speaking. Like I was like super shy, super introverted. Some ways I still kind of am, but I think more of that is me being humble and having that humility and not having an ego. Because egos can get really big in this space, especially when you reach certain milestones. There can be like serious egos. But back then, I was like super shy, didn't want to hear the sound of my own voice, didn't want to see myself on camera. I was just like mortified, but I put myself out there because I saw, I felt I had something to give back then because I had been in IT. You alluded to some of that. I was in IT overall for nearly 20 years. Yeah, long time. Going back to 2004 is when I first started IT, right out of college. And I did that, and that was what I knew very well. And so I thought, you know what, maybe I could turn that into something. I didn't quite know at the time because I was still very young. The maturity wasn't there to what it is now because now I have hindsight. I can look back and be like, oh my gosh. I was not when I first started like all the podcasting. I was still a new father. I was still trying to navigate that. Trying to being a new parent, very much a challenge. And we come from the society like I think we had talked about it earlier. We come from a place where all we knew was go to school, get a job, do that day in day out, and then that's it, and then you're done.
Yes.
Right.
And wait for the retirement.
Right. And I come to find out that was a vicious cycle. Now I don't want to bash that or downplay that, because there's still very much a need for that.
Right.
But there a lot of this group here, we all have that entrepreneurial spirit. And for me, I think I had it for so long because my parents ran their own business. My parents ran a dry cleaning business for like 30 years, and they had retired right before the pandemic shut the world down. And so their timing was it was the perfect, I guess it's called perfect storm, but because they saw their business declining a little bit, and there were some external factors that were out of their control, and they said, you know what, now is the time. Because I my daughter was their first grandchild, and so they wanted to have more time at home. It was like taking a toll on their health mentally and physically, because they were not getting any younger and trying to
Right.
do what they did, but running their own business. I've been around that for so long. And I feel like part of that is the reason why I was like, okay, I could do something. It's like I could do something. And then the world shut everything down, and we were all trapped, basically trapped in our homes. But I figured that was the time, because I had gone through some very personal challenges. Gone through bankruptcy, gone through divorce at that around that time, like right before the pandemic started. So I was not in a good way, and I had made attempts even years before that to start something, but I really wasn't sure how to build a business. I thought maybe I could do some sort of technical consulting instead of working a job, but I still had all these mental blocks. We all know mindset is like 90%.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like 90% of this, and it just wasn't meant to be at that time. I had, made some mistakes. I had destroyed my own reputation as a person. It was bad. I had done some things that I was absolutely not proud of, but I used that past to feel my future, not live in it. But I figured 2020, at the end of the year, I was sitting in my apartment at the time. I'm in a house now. I was sitting in my apartment at the time, and I was scrolling social media, right? I was doom scrolling. This is what we call it now, scrolling like TikTok or whatever. And I saw people, talking about, it's like, you may be working a 9 to 5, maybe working a 9 to 5 job, but you can start this business. You have more time at home, more this, more that. And I'm like, I'm like, this is really a thing. I was like, I thought it was something that went, something that people did like years before that. And then I just happened to look over. I don't know what made me do it, but I was sitting there watching these videos, and I started seeing more of these videos of people doing this. And it's like, okay. And I looked over to my left, and I had a picture on my end table of my daughter with my grandmother. My grandmother had just passed away right before that, and she was a big part of my life. Every milestone I ever had was because of her. Like, even all my life milestones, my education, career milestones at that point were because of her. Very, very special to me. So I was still reeling from that, and that was still fresh in my mind. And I looked at that picture, and I'm like, you know what? I was like, I can do something more for my daughter and honor my grandmother's, her legacy. I was like, because she was always so proud of me, and I was not proud of myself around that time frame. I was not really proud of myself, and I was in a I don't want to
In
say
a
rock
low
bottom, mental rock
rock.
bottom. I was
Right. Right.
mentally I was at
Yes.
rock bottom. That the career was going okay at that time, but still it was very stressful, because IT is very demanding. Very, very
Right.
taxing, very demanding, sometimes thankless. But I was going through that. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I was like, let me do this. And I got into the world of affiliate marketing at that time. I
We
got,
all did
yeah,
actually
right.
in the
In a way,
beginning. Yes.
we'd always done it. We'd always
Yes.
done that.
Exactly.
Now,
Yes.
now that once I started putting two and two together, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've done this before. So I started educating myself and started learning, started taking some courses and things like that. Very, very different than things that I didn't learn in school, and didn't learn in college, that didn't prepare me for this. And I'm like, and it just, it's like an awakening. It was like eye opening.
Exactly.
Right. It was
Yes.
very eye opening. I was like, my God, like, what have I been missing? And I really got going with that in January of 2021. So over 4 years ago is when I started that. And I just kept doing it, and kept working my way up, and learning those skills as I elevate. And eventually it got to a point I was like, I'm pretty good at, I was like, I think I'm good at this. I think I can do this. And then I was brought in to start doing some coaching, let's see, about a year later, because I had been doing everything on my own. And then I got the attention of a couple of guys, and we started working together, and we started building this team. I would say by 2023, I started doing some coaching. It's like a story because I was picking things up quickly because I figured, and what it wasn't until about a year ago I realized I'm really good at, understanding, learning, and picking things up quickly. I made a joke the other day where I felt like I was like the Mike Ross of online business. If anybody's ever seen Suits, the show Suits, where Mike Ross had that photographic memory and he reads something, understood it, picked it up quickly. Very, very very inside baseball type reference there. But I made that joke the other day, and I thought it was funny. But like I'm able to pick things up quickly, and I just happened to pick this up quickly. And once I learn something and understand it and apply it, it's like, okay, I got it. And a lot of times it's faster than other people. Everybody's different though. But for me, I was able to pick things up more quickly. And still, because I was doing all this while I was still working a 9-to-5 job. My daughter was younger at the time. Now she's almost 6. She's gonna be 16. Let's see, what is today? The 11th. In a couple
So
weeks.
we all start like that. You can't leave something and start another thing.
Right.
It's never like, always overlap.
There's always been, and it's okay. It's all right because I was
okay,
actually
exactly.
right. And I definitely have no issue with that because I still work with people who are going through that. Now at an advanced level, I still work with people who are in that state. And I try to share with them the things that I did that, help, like, blocking out time because maybe getting up a little bit earlier, staying up a little bit later, sacrificing a few things. You don't have to throw everything away just for this. No, that's silly.
Silly, because you have to pay the bill, especially you have kids right now.
Right. And then I still, at the time, I was, making sure I had time, still had time with my daughter. Now she's a teenager and off doing her own thing. She's got her own life. But back then she was younger. And I was like, I would block out time, and I had to be very meticulous about how I spent my time. I still am, but it's like, okay, I'm carving time management. I was big on teaching time management, because everybody wants, so how do you do this? I'm like, okay, here's how you do it. Discipline yourself with time management. It's not about having funnels or email lists or anything. Like the very first thing, besides knowing that you are going to do this, and you have to be like, you have to go all in your mind before you can go like all in with it, because mindset, I feel like it's 90% of the entire struggle. 90% of it is mindset. 10% is everything else, like traffic, emails, systems, all that. Like what I do now. Yeah, 90% of it is going to be the space between your head, 6 inches of space between your ears. That's what I call it. It's your mindset. And people hear that all the time, but it really, until you've actually gone through it, you don't understand that. It's like somebody could say it's mindset, but until you actually experience it, and I still have to battle on a regular basis. Even now that I'm doing this is where I am now. But going back to when I was getting going and getting the momentum going a couple of years ago, it was that time management was a big deal. Like I literally had to make sure that my calendar was locked in. I was like, okay. I was like, I have my daughter this day of the week. I have her this weekend, this time. And it's like, okay, I'm spending time with her. I have to make sure that I'm present for her and make sure that I'm present for everything else. And then, of course, blocked out the time where I'm working the job at the time. But then I would get up a little bit earlier. I would take advantage of lunch hours. I would take advantage of breaks. There are pockets of time, and maybe that helps your audience out too, because I'm sure you probably have a lot that are still in that split. They're split in that time, which I understand. I went through it, and that's the one thing that I will say is be very intentional with your time throughout the day. I'm not saying you have to go sleepless because that's not healthy. I'm big on taking care of yourself, right? I try to do, try to take care of myself as well. But we sometimes we'll have those days where we're putting in more time or less time, depending on depending on your situations. In the beginning, you're going to put in more time because you have to get things going. So you're going to be putting in more time, and not everybody will understand it. Right. Not everybody.
Oh, yes, that's another struggle. Your friends.
Not everybody. I've had people tell me I'm crazy. Absolutely. I've had people tell me, "Why don't you just stick with a real job?" I literally had that.
Oh, and I get that till today. I mean,
right. It's like it's like you're it's like I don't get it so much anymore. I used to, like when I was starting out, because that stuff would kind of get to you, right? Because if you're not used to dealing with that or hearing those things, right? Because
go and watch TV. That's what people tell me. Go and watch TV, relax.
Binge watch Netflix, right? But if you're building a business, you have that entrepreneurial spirit. You will have time to do some of those things, but in the beginning, like you're getting going, it will consume your time, and it has to, right? Because it has to, because you can't just you can't just 50% it. I'm being very PG here because I had to watch myself. I'm gonna be very PG here, be family friendly. But yeah, you can't go 50. You can't go halvesies on it. You can't go halfway. There's a difference between splitting your time between your commitments and career, your careers at the time, and building your own business, building your own entrepreneurial things. And there's a difference between that and then just like halving it right up here. So that's where I was at that time, and that's what I focused on when I was coaching people and working with people when the affiliate marketing space, because that was much simpler at the time, because it took a lot of the hassle off of creating something of your own, because there's market research, there's all of these things that go into play. It's like you have to vet things. There's a lot of creating your own. And working with proven products and services was great for a beginner, but still, maybe somebody has a great idea and they are able to research it. Somebody says, oh, you should create this, or if there's demand for it. And so I try to pay attention to where the markets are, trying to pay attention to positioning, and now paying attention to those things. But in the beginning, it's just getting your bearings.
Now, from there, you figured out or build your business right now, whatever you are doing.
Right. So so for a while, because I was so resentful. Okay, I had grown resentful because I think people started to figure out what I was doing. I wasn't I was no longer hiding. I was like out in the open, proud of the business I was building. I probably went about some things the wrong way. I think I burned some bridges, which I do. I do not condone anybody burning bridges. I think I probably nuked the whole thing. I think I nuked the whole
Sometimes we do that kind of mistakes.
Right. Yeah, because like my journey is filled with mistakes, lots of wins, lots of things along the way. I made my fair share of mistakes. You and your audience is going to go through their fair share of mistakes. Some things are going to stink in the very beginning. Things will suck in the very beginning. It will suck before it gets better, because even though you're coming out firing on all cylinders, it's still very new. People don't know you. They don't know your business. You have to build that up. But as time went on, I think I was being ostracized because I was working on this business, and I think people were finding me online. And I was like, I'm getting tired of this. I was like, I already went to high school. I don't need to go through high school again. It was drama. It was like drama because I could feel it. I don't know if it was just me. It was just me being parent. I don't know if it was me or if there really was animosity there. I think there was. And finally reached a point to where it was either they fire me or I walk away. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I can't take this anymore. It's like I got the coaching thing was going well, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
So it's for your job. You felt like I'm done.
Yeah, it was like it was either they let me go or I walk away. And so that's why I felt like I feel like it's always better to have things in your control. But could I have gone about it different? I could go through and say, maybe I should have stuck it out a little bit longer. Maybe
sometimes it's universe's plan. We don't know.
Exactly. And that was one of the things. So like I feel like with as far as branding goes, is to not only focus on what your strengths are, like I talked about earlier about I picked up stuff quickly, being tech savvy is my strength. I also have my own flaws, right? Being indecisive was always a flaw. And it's like, you know what? Let me just make this decision. I'm just gonna make this decision, whether it's the right time, wrong time, doesn't matter. I'm making this decision. Crazy, yeah. It was a crazy decision to walk away at that time, but I felt like it was a necessary decision for me. But and at that time, so that leads into where I am now. I promise it does.
Tell us a little bit about now.
It will get there, but this all ties together.
All
ties together. So I was so resentful. I was so disenchanted with, at the time I thought was IT, but it was really the corporate structure that I was resentful towards. So eventually I realized, it took me a while to realize it, but I was like, you know what? I'm really good at like tech and marketing and all that. So I just kind of fell back into it. But I was like, I can still have my own like entrepreneurial ways and then combine that with my technical knowledge. And that's when I started really picking up steam with my own agency. So that's what led to that. Was I kind of, I don't want to say fell back into it. I fell backwards into it again, but I kind of did. It's like it's like I got to a point where I'm like, I'm really good at like the technical side of things. I get testimonials. So it's like I still do a little bit of the coaching and some of that, but my focus now is more so because I was using leverage. And now I'm using all the skills and everything that I've learned over the years to then build my own agency to where so that's where it all led to, was, being resentful, being, I don't know if it was spite. I mean, not spiteful. Spiteful is probably not the right word, but I had a lot of bitter. I was bitter. I was very, very bitter towards corporate life. And even at the time I was thinking IT, but come to find out, it's like, yeah, there are elements of IT that I don't do anymore, but I can use my technical background and things that I've learned over the last 20 years, consulting and support and things like that, and apply those now to SaaS, to Facebook ads, to lead generation, to systems and automation, because that's really where I feel like I shine, because I picked those things back up quickly. Again, pick those things up quickly, and here we are now. As I went from just coaching, now I still do quite a bit of that, but I am focused more on the technical aspect of SaaS and SaaS and lead generation and automations and systems, that aspect of it for local businesses. And so that's
For local businesses. Okay.
yes. And so, because I feel like that is still very untapped for me. I feel like that is still, there's like no competition. It's definitely not saturated by any means, because I hear hear it all the time. Such and such market's probably saturated.
Right.
Not really. I mean, some probably a lot, but you can still set yourself apart. But yeah, that's where we are now, as I am building this thing up myself, because this is something that I tried to do years ago, but I wasn't ready. Now I'm ready, because I'm getting clients now. I'm getting clients now, and then I'm doing my own thing, but I couldn't have done it without everything else happening before. Everything else had to happen before, because you talked about that. The universe has a way of
right.
out everything.
Yeah, now you can like connect the dot, and now you can see why it happened.
Yes, exactly. And I tell people that all the time. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. Like me being shy, being introverted. I'm still kind of introverted, right? Being afraid to get on camera and talk to people. And now I feel like sometimes I talk too much. I've gone way the other way.
No, you're doing very good. We are really getting story. Yes.
Thank you so much. And now I'm starting to see the fruits of the labor, so to speak, because there were times where I really questioned myself. What am I doing? And there were times, there's going to be times you're going, everybody's going through this journey, and especially when you just getting started, or you're just, maybe things aren't going your way.
Yeah, you feel stuck, kind of.
You feel stuck, and it's really good time to take stock and either adjust what you're doing, because you don't want to keep doing the wrong things. But it's like, if you're doing the right things, you're doing things the way they're supposed to be, but it feels like that things aren't happening, that's when you're battle tested. I've been battle tested, because I've had breakdown moments. I have, over the last 4 years, I've had moments where I just broke down. And I was questioning if was it worth it, and then everybody around me was questioning it, and like, is it really working? Is this for real? And I'm like, yes. I was like, I just need you to trust me. I was like, I believe within my heart that this does work. It's not what everybody else does. It's not normal, whatever that means. That's subjective, normal. But even have people close to me question, it's like, I wish you would just go work a regular schedule, work a regular job. I've had people very close to me that did support me would say that, like, I can't do that. I was like, this is something that I need to do, because I put so much time and energy, and I know it works. And I believe
you have the success. You can show them you were showing me before the 2 Comma Club, because that's for a reason, right? Tell me more about that. How was that journey?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Who is telling you to go back to job after that?
Yeah, right. I'm not going anywhere after this. This is it. My virtual background's kind of messing up. But that was from the coaching. That right there was from coaching individuals, whether they're beginners or a little bit more experienced. And a lot of it was beginners. A lot of it was people that had never done an online business before, and taking them through the process. I had a whole team. I still have a whole team around me doing that. It's me, and because normally it's funny, because a lot of people will say, you don't see a lot of guys doing this. I'm on a team of guys. we do this. we do this, and we do it at such a high level, no pun intended there. We operate at such a different level, but we're able to bring people in, and they come to me, come to us, because they know that I have the technical chops, and I do have the marketing chops. I know how to talk to people. I know how to close sales. Now I do. I didn't then. I had to learn those skills. They take time to learn, and I can't tell you how many sales calls I've screwed up. But then I got the ones that I got right. And obviously, because there are people that are working with me now, working with me and my agency directly now, but it took a lot. It took some no's. It took some no's to get to those yeses. And there's sometimes I still get no's or not right now. Or I will say, I don't think this is a fit. I don't think this doesn't make sense. This is not right. And so that's the thing. It's like you're going to say yes. You're going to want to say yes to more opportunities in the beginning, but eventually you get to
Yes, you are so right. Sometimes you will say yes to all the opportunities, and then you will realize it's not for me. But that
right,
is so
exactly.
true.
So there's going to be a time where you're going to say yes to opportunities, a lot of them, and sure, it'll work in the moment, but then you're going to realize how powerful it is to say no.
Right.
You're going to say no to more opportunities once you start refining. Once you start refining, like, your marketing, your sales, whatever your path is. Excuse me. You're going to refine that over time. And once you refine that, you're gonna be so dialed in that it's just gonna be like you're just gonna be firing on all cylinders. And it may take some people a little bit longer to find their footing. It may take some people less time. But I would say surround yourself with people, right? Because it's all about people. I'd say surround yourself with people who support you and will level you up. And that's what brought this. That's what brought this right here. I surrounded myself with people that helped me level up.
That's nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about currently your agency, how they are helping the entrepreneur right now.
So right now, like my agency is like right now I'm focusing on lead generation for local businesses. So
Oh,
that
okay.
yeah. And so that's really where, because I have some local businesses right now that are not I work with business owners. So I do work with business owners, but really like my focus is lead generation, and I try to do it as simplistic as possible. It's like my focus is get leads, and then your company closes the deals. That's really is like I'll build simple systems. I don't do all this complex stuff. I'm not building websites. I'm not doing all this other extraneous stuff. It's like I will focus on lead generation with paid ads or organic, but really mostly paid ads, because business owners don't want, they're not trying to be creators or influencers or anything like that. They're just trying to get more customers, make more money. That's it. And so I'm like, okay. I was like, that's perfect, because I'm a very logical person. Again, it goes back to going back 20 years to my programming, because my degree is in computer programming. My original college degree was computer programming. And a lot of that was very sequential, very logical. And I realized I had to step outside myself for a second, realize I'm a very logical, sequential person. I'm very much black and white, ones and zeros. It's either is or isn't, this or that. And I realized that was a strength, and I played into that. And once I realized that, okay, I understand, it's like you're trying to get from here to here. You're trying to get from, have leads come in and get here. It's like, all right, it's like, how can we do this? And then, of course, I use tools, resources, things like that. But really, it's, can you help me? Can you help me get more customers, book more calls, make more money? Sure. Let's see what we can do. Let's take a look at your business. But yeah, that's really the gist of it. That's really what my angle is right now, is working with those types of businesses. But the thing is, for your entrepreneurs out there, is you want to find your audience, your target customer is a problem that you can solve for them that they are unable to solve themselves.
Exactly. Yes.
What is the problem you're trying to solve? And sometimes you have to get deeper. And there was a book that I read. It was called The Millionaire Success Habits from Dean Graziosi. And he talks about in that book these 7 levels of why. And you start asking because people, like, there's people that come in, maybe they didn't follow certain processes or they stumbled, and I come in and I ask them those types of questions, and they're looking at me like, they look at me like deer in the headlights look. They give me that look because they've never been asked that before. And I think it's important to understand the 7 levels of why. It's like, why do your customers, the ones that you're wanting to help, why does your solution benefit them? It can be anything, right? I remember talking to a school teacher once who just stumbled by accident upon, he created his own program to help kids get scholarships. That was it, helping local seniors get scholarships, because they didn't really know how. I was like, things would have been very different for me because there's kids out there that still want to go to college and all that, which is totally awesome. I'm not bashing that by any means. I don't bash any of that, but really it was a school teacher who created his own offer out of a need, because he found that while he was doing other things, he really shined. And sometimes you may stumble upon this like I did. you're going to stumble upon things by accident that really work. And, you're going to find that is ultimately going to be that may be a passion. It may not, but it could be. And he stumbled upon and he did really well with it. It was amazing. He took an idea of something that he was doing and it started to work. And then it started to work again. And originally he was doing it for free. He's helping these kids out. And, yeah. And then the parent, he started to realize, okay, there's a business here. There's an opportunity here. I can.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to do that for my son right now. He will be senior soon. So
Right,
exactly.
right. And so that's the thing is, he was able to help these high school kids find these grants and scholarships, and created a whole coaching program for the parents and the juniors, the juniors and seniors. So it's like sometimes there's an idea that just comes out of thin air. And for me, like I stumbled backwards into the tech side of it because I didn't know that there was any market in it, but there's a huge need. An absolute massive need.
People don't know. Exactly.
Right. You don't know what you don't know. And a lot of times these business owners and even other coaches they want to focus on their thing. Because I've worked with coaches too. I've worked with other coaches too.
Yeah, tell me more about that also. Like I know you said 101 coaching and how you help them exactly.
I'm still doing some online coaching in the marketing and a little bit of content creation here and there, but I believe more in storytelling and documentation of journeys, just like I've done here, talking about a story, talking about a journey. I'm a firm believer in that. And so I don't do much one-on-one anymore. I did for a while, but that was very draining. Working one-on-one, it was very draining. Yeah. So I was doing one-on-one coaching, getting people started online. And a lot of it was, like promoting proven products and services online, whether it was their own. I've helped other, I've worked like my team and I, we've helped, like health coaches. I talked to somebody just last week who was an esthetician out in California. And she, I was working with her in like a group. It was a group coaching setting, but it was more so of the tech side because I lead a couple of technical SaaS calls, but it's more so some of it is how to use elements of software that I use. There's a little bit of that, but it's more so of, how it can help other businesses. That's really so I kind of help people along with that. But yeah, I was doing one-on-one for a while. I was like, I don't, that is too exhausting. It's too draining. So I kind of got away from that because, right now, because I'm focusing more time on my agency, especially now. Now I'm not doing now I'm not doing so much one-on-one anymore. Because I'm working with clients. I got clients that need me now. And so I'll work with them, but then they may book, I got some people that may book a session with me to help me do a technical setup, and that's different. But as far as like any sort of, I do some group coaching still, but that's there. I'm like basically, I don't say I'm contracted out for that, but in a way I kind of am. But my focus is still my agency. Like my focus now is 100% on my agency and how I can help these business owners, get better qualified leads, not just get more leads. Anybody can say they get more leads, but it's helping. Yeah, it's helping business owners attract their customers. And so I kind of still do that with like the coaching side of it. So I help people attract their ideal customers and build the systems that nurture and that sort of thing, because they want to automate. They want to automate and put systems in place, because now we can, because I didn't have this years ago. This was not I'm sure it was not a thing, not at the level it is now. It was not a thing. So a lot of it for us
started
was
exactly
manual.
Before COVID and all, it was not a thing. Exactly.
Right. Even then, Zoom was still flaky. Like I don't use Zoom personally anymore, but it was still very flaky. It was nothing there, not like it is now. But I still get a lot of that, and I'm still like a technical resource. So people will come to me for technical challenges through a coaching program that I do. But my real focus is the agency that I'm building. And that is like my absolute, because I'm building my own thing.
Maybe you can teach that part also if somebody wants to start agency.
Yeah, I could do a little. So if somebody wants to do that, I could help people with that. But like my focus right now, and as people, as you go to my website, you'll see, I was like, I'm working with very specific groups of people. But I do, people do ask me all the time, how do you get started? How do you sell this? How do you do this? And I'll answer that. I don't mind answering those questions. I don't mind, answering questions, how you get started. But I will say this, the one thing that I will say is don't try to sell your solution. Because I know a lot of beginning entrepreneurs will try to sell their thing.
Okay,
So let,
I want to know more about it. Yeah, I want to know
okay,
more about
so
it. That's very
like,
interesting what you said.
or
Yeah.
I will elaborate on that. So like your audience is more, they're beginning entrepreneurs. Do they already have a product in mind, or do they
It's all
it's
over
all
the
over the
place.
place?
I work more like introverted entrepreneurs. Sometimes they have it, but they are not good to come in front of the camera and build
Oh,
the
okay.
brand.
All right. So for that, I would say, because there's I was in that place. I was there. I was the
Yeah.
one that had a hard time being in front of the camera. Now you can't get me out of the camera. But I had to do it. I did it once, right? I just had to do it once. It was scary, and it was very nauseating. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
oh
I
my God.
can't
My
believe I
heart
did
would
that.
be like boom, boom, boom. I used to think maybe I will become sick. The stage fear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was deathly afraid, because the one thing will beat you is self-doubt and self-limiting beliefs and fear.
absolutely.
Like, you conjured up this fear that is in your own mind.
Yes.
Yeah, because this fear that you put in your own mind is completely made up. But you got to realize what's on the other side of that. What is on that fear that you may have? What is on the other side of that?
Right.
And so that's what I try to tell people. What is on the other side of that? What is it you're trying to achieve? What
Right.
is your goal? And it's like, okay, so it's on the other side of that fear. And sometimes you, especially if you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're just getting started, it's like you are going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to
Absolutely.
you got to put yourself in some uncomfortable situations. And then once you do it, you're going to realize, oh, it's not so bad. And that's what I did. I literally just had to do it. I just had to do it. You do it once. Focus on just one time. Okay, that's what I will tell your audience there. Just do it one time. You're gonna do it once. It's gonna be terrifying. It will absolutely be terrifying. But then you do it again, and only focus on that one time you're doing it, and then do it again, and then again,
Mhm.
then do it again.
Mhm.
And then you're gonna realize, like, you're gonna battle yourself one at a time. You're gonna it's gonna be a game you play with yourself. That's what an early mentor told me years ago. He said that you're gonna fight a mental battle every single day. It's gonna be a game you play every single day, and you have to work it. It's like working out.
Even I was listening to Russell Brunson very recently.
Mhm.
He was saying that every step have their mental battle. They are like almost billionaire or billionaire. They also still have mental battle. You know,
Yeah,
every step
yeah, right.
they will
Exactly.
have.
No matter what level you are, you're going to have those challenges, and especially if yours are if they're just like at the beginning steps, or they're at that starting point, wherever they're starting. Whenever you start, because I remember when I started running Facebook ads, I'd been organic for so long, that was a challenge I had to face. Like, oh my gosh, this is freaking me out.
I remember that too.
Like,
I
oh
was
my
doing
gosh.
Facebook and my e-commerce stuff, the
Uh-huh.
simple stuff, but I was like fear to death. What will happen?
Right,
Blah, blah,
that's a
blah,
whole
blah.
new set of, because it's a one thing to create content in front of a camera. That's one challenge. Then, like, you're like, what you're doing and what I'm doing now, because I'm running ads not just for myself but for clients. I'm like, oh
Yes.
my god, I'm like, you got a whole new set of challenges. You got all this testing and creatives and budgets and analytics and metrics. I can geek out on that stuff all day long. But and that's the thing too, is like I try to get people to understand. It's like, even if whether you're creating content, if you hold your phone up and you're creating content like this in front of the camera, the first one you create may not go so well. I remember looking at the first piece of content I ever created. It makes me cringe. It was like, the first content, like, you get out in front of the camera, the first time you do something is probably not going to be good. I'm preparing you that right now, your audience. I'm preparing that. Your first thing you record in front of the camera may not be good,
Right.
because you've never done it
Exactly.
before. The first time you do anything, it's not going to be good. You get great at it by doing better, and you realize what you did, and then you keep doing it, because people want to see real. They want realism. They want, especially if you're working with other business owners, because, like, I'll get on a call with a business owner, and we'll talk for, we may talk for an hour or two, when I meant for like 15 or 30 minutes, because at first I was like mortified. Like, I remember the first time I ever hopped on a Zoom call with somebody, because I was hosting a training, just trying to get my bearings, because I wanted to get testimonials and things like that, and because I wasn't quite in the position I am now. Because when you
Mhm.
start out, I always find it's good to have some guinea pigs and test things out first to get a testimonial or review.
Right.
I always recommend new entrepreneurs do that first. If you're just learning something new, it's okay to still be learning, because you never stop learning. Because even at my level, I'm still learning. I'm always learning. And just go out there, even if you do it for free, like the first couple, get a review. That way you know it works. It's like if you're confident in what your solution is works, go do a couple for free. Go reach out to your network. That's why I tell people all the time to reach out to your network. Do it for free, get that review, because the first time you do it, you're gonna stumble through things. You're going to absolutely stumble, and then you're gonna get better at it. But the first time you do it, you're gonna figure things out, and that's okay. That is perfectly fine. I'm gonna look right at the camera and tell you guys it's gonna be okay. The first time is going to be a stumble. It's going to suck at first, but then you learn and you figure out what you did and how you can do it differently next time. And don't beat yourself up over it. I cannot stress that enough. Don't beat yourself up and don't harp on it. Okay, the fact that it was not good at first is okay. You know what to do next time to make the next one better, and the next thing better, and the next thing better, and the next thing better, and then you get better and better and better and better, and then you realize you've come along 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. You're like, oh my gosh, I've come such a long way. I was like, what was I worried about? What was I worried about in the very beginning? Because you look back, I was like, what was I worried about? It's like, because what you thought was...
That is very important. Sometimes we say we do it, and if it doesn't work, we said, oh, I'm quitting. I'm bad.
That right there, yeah, a lot of people will...
Yeah.
I see that so much. That's why
So much.
Yeah. So much. I see it all. I saw it earlier today. People were like, I don't know if this is for me. I can't do this anymore. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you've been at it for 2 weeks. Like, yeah, you've been at it for 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? Well, maybe it's not for you then. But a lot of people say, oh, don't quit. But I'm like, you know what? If you're already feeling that way, quit.
Quit, exactly. I tell my clients that, you can, if there is something going on in your personal life, whatever, you can pause, but don't quit. Why you have to quit?
Right. Just like this last week, I went through a mentally taxing and physically exhausting bathroom remodel in my house. I was not on my computer much at all. I had a couple of meetings, and I had a call, a couple of calls, a couple of meetings, but I was focused on that. I had things running still, like my business was still running. Right. But I pretty much paused when I didn't say, oh, I'm going to quit because I need to do this. That's the kind of logic I see. I was like, oh, I need to remodel my bathroom. I quit. Is that kind of silly logic? Lack of logic.
Job, if you have to take entrepreneurship little seriously than hobby. Can you do it, with your job?
That's what I tell people. Is like, if you treat this, that's what I tell people, because I don't like the word side hustle. I do not like it. I do not like it because it implies, because I talked about, halving it, right? It's like going 50% in mentally. I don't like that because it implies that you're not taking it seriously. And you said it right there. You need to take it more seriously. And treat it as if, even though you're splitting your time, I talked about that earlier. Say you're doing your job and then you got this business you're building. Treat the business as if it is your main thing. Don't treat it because if you treat it as a side thing, you're not going to take it seriously. No. And I think that's the mindset people are in. They don't take it seriously.
As a woman, I said treat it like even like as a dad, you can understand. Treat it like that is another baby,
I didn't even think about that, but yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. It's like treat it as an it's an extended part of as your child. You're gonna take care of your child, right? So you're not gonna quit on that.
Right? Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Right. No, that's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. It's like, you treat it as if, you take it that seriously. You have that level of energy and put it into your business that you're building. And then you get to a certain point and then you will be able to, subtract, be able to take away, it's like you can still, you stay at home mom, stay at home dad, if you want to travel, whatever you want to do, you can still do that. But it's like there's going to be a point to where you're going to have, there's going to be some sacrifices you're going to have to make. You can't go without sacrificing. I think part of that is unrealistic expectations that I think people have. Exactly. I think there's a lot of unrealistic expectations that people like us, like you and I, have to set.
Little bit fault of the media, or also sometimes they are showing that you will get the freedom, you will work from the beach and all that. That is such a BS.
It is. It's funny because I joke around that too. I was like, you know what? I've been on the beach. It is too salty and sandy. I got a nice laptop there. It's staying inside. I was like, I may take it outside if I go to the park or something like that when the weather's nice, but I'm not sitting on the beach because that salt gets everywhere. I was like, I don't even like having my phone at the beach. Like I
Right.
have screen
I mean,
protectors and all that on there, but I'm like
I
super.
know when I'm in the beach, I should be enjoying the beach. I should not bring my business there. That's
No,
my point.
yeah, yeah, I agree with, I agree with that. But I mean, you're gonna get to a point to where you will do traveling. It's like I'm doing a little bit more traveling,
That
but
is different. Yeah. The
it's
way,
different.
it was advertised, maybe it was, that's why people think business is easy and they take
Uh-huh.
it lightly and then they fail. Then they say it's not for us. And yeah,
Right. Yeah, I
that,
think it's a combination of things. Like you said, it's the media and advertising and the way that people are marketing it. They're marketing
yes,
it as if it's this glorious.
of cake.
Right. It's this glorious unicorn. I don't want to say unicorn, but it's like this perfect, beautiful thing that you just click a button, it's going to happen right away.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
But that doesn't mean it's very difficult. Because it is very doable, and
Yeah.
it is doable without being born in a rich family, without being a
Right.
big
Yeah.
background. Exactly
I'm
what Chris told the story.
Right, and I'm glad you said that because I come from, my parents were hardworking. My mom and my mom and dad were hardworking business owners. They
Mhm.
rolled up their sleeves. They didn't come from money. I don't come from money. I'm a
Right,
very humble, low key Midwestern. I'm from the Midwest part of the country of the United States, and I'm very very low key, very humble. I'm very humble, very grateful for everything that I've been able to do thus far, and we are just getting started. And so, yeah, that's the thing is like, people will think, oh, they came from money or they're famous or all
yes,
this thing.
yes,
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm sure I'm sure you get a lot of that too. It's like, no,
right,
no. It's like, we are here putting in the work. And like for me, even just being able to kind of wake up when I want to, I can not really burn both ends of a candle now. I had to at
right,
first. Oh my gosh, I was
right.
putting in. So there were days I
Mhm.
would put in 14, 15, 16-hour days to make this work. I was creating anything and everything to make this work, and then
Mhm.
I just refined it over time. Like
Right,
I don't want to be all. Yeah, it's like I don't want this to sound like we're all doom and gloom.
right, right.
I just they're realistic to it. It can be simple, but it's not easy.
Thank you. So, Chris, we are almost at the end of this meeting right
Oh my
now.
god!
Yeah, we almost talked about, for it is showing 53 minutes. Thank
Holy
you.
cow!
But it is so beautiful. As we talked before, it is so beautiful the way you told the story,
Thank you.
and it is inspirational. That you are a burned out dad. That time when you thought that you have to do something, you told the
Hmm.
story of your grandma. I
Hmm.
really liked it. And that's why maybe you have lots of ethics and lots of good heart in your business, that I can see.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I believe in that wholeheartedly. I believe in having good morals, being ethical, and
yeah.
being responsible. There's a responsibility to this too. Not just to our clients, but to ourselves. It's like
Hmm.
we have a responsibility to be who we say who we are, because the
Hmm.
person that you see here, like everybody sees right now, what you see is what you get. Yeah, you're not going to get much different from me, whether you're on a call with me or I'm working with you, working with a client directly. Like I'm gonna be
Right.
straight. I'll laugh. Like these conversations, like I have some of these conversations. Some of these I'll have not quite this long or this
No,
extemporaneous.
I like it. I mean, that's what we need. Sometimes we need that raw story,
Uh huh.
right? Instead
Uh huh.
of like always showing, big money or big awards, big
Never
house.
show that.
We
Absolutely never
need
show that.
some raw story like this that will help. That's why the name of my group is Imperfect Entrepreneur, and
Perfect.
I personally help introverted entrepreneur, but it is imperfect. On You don't have to be perfect. That's what exactly Chris told us to hold about his journey.
Mhm.
And right now, Chris, I mean, good luck with your everything,
Thank you.
and especially with your new agency journey.
Thank you.
And that is very interesting. Also, local agency and helping them. And yeah, and again, Chris, thank you so much for telling us about everything. And if anybody need helps with from Chris, I will put the link below. Wherever you are watching, maybe you are watching from Facebook or YouTube or anywhere I'm posting it, they can reach via your that link, right?
Yeah,
The
that's my yeah, that is my main website. I do have contact forms on there. You can get a hold of you can reach out to me there too. But we can also we might be able to we could probably give them my Facebook as well. So if they do have
Yeah,
questions,
sure.
you can give them my
And
Yeah, that might be faster, but yeah, if you want to see what I do, like how I help business owners, my website is the place to
Yes,
go. Yeah,
to
if you
go.
want to see that, that's gonna be the place to be. Yeah, so you can see
Yeah.
exactly what I do. Yeah.
That is my next question. So that is mostly your service, what I
Yes.
can understand. But
Yes.
you also do coaching, but they can reach out for that if they need it, right?
If they need that, they can reach out because I would have a conversation with somebody for that if they needed something like that.
Right. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you all the audiences who are watching so far. And hopefully we will meet again in our next episode with another new guest. And please subscribe and watch more. Other interviews are also there that can inspire you. And thank you very much. And let's see you again in Coffee with Dr. Kaya, Imperfect Entrepreneur. So thank you. Bye.
Thank you.